What is happening, you beautiful bastards?
Monday, Monday, Monday! Tonight's fight is between the beautiful bastards and Brimstone! We'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only use the edge.
Perfect. That's good. I like that you fucked it up.
I could barely even hold on to that.
I noticed.
I don't understand how that guy does that for a living.
Oh, yeah.
I'd fucking lose my shit every Monday or every Sunday.
Because he's done it so much, man.
I know.
Well, welcome, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed that stupidity we had right there. If you couldn't tell, this week's guest is Brimstone. He is a man of all things. He has his hands in a lot of cookie jars.
Yeah. And you'll find out the reference at the beginning was because he used to wrestle.
And do food stuff.
And do voice stuff.
And TV. And comic books. And
podcasts.
Fucking everything. And he knows everyone.
He does. Now he knows us. And by proxy, we now know everyone. And now it's only by, 2 degrees, maybe 3 instead of 6.
Now you just fucking stretched it, man.
Wait a second. Could this be the Matrix?
Again? So without further ado, enjoy Brimstone. Or whatever the fuck we're doing. Welcome back, everyone, to another week of Beautiful Bastards. We have a fantastic guest for you guys this week. Jerry, who the hell do we have?
Well, today we're talking to Brimstone. And he is a man of many talents. We're actually going to send you guys some links so you can figure out where he's from, who he is, what kind of awesome talents he's got. But Brimstone, what's happening, buddy?
Brother, first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for having me. Finally, Brimstone has made it to the Beautiful Bastards podcast. We're about to light it up, guys. We're going to have some fun, kick back, have a couple of drinks, and of course, I'm going to be drinking water. You guys drink whatever you're going to drink. But we're going to have some fun. I'm super excited. And again, Andy, Jerry, thank you for having me, and let's do it, bro.
All right, man. So I know the entertainment industry is a pretty wild place, right? But you've been in it for a long time, huh?
I've been in for quite some time. So I'm 46 right now, and I've been in since I'm about 5 years old. I started on Sesame Street and Romper Room. Then what do you call it? That's how far back I go. I was a child actor on Sesame Street and Romper Room. Then I, later on, I wound up touring, in music, then touring in pro wrestling. I do acting. I'm an author, comic book character, animated character. I do voice work. I do kids books, the foodie industry. I've done a little bit of everything. And I also do the Grindhouse Radio on iHeartRadio and 30 other networks. Right now, we're doing like 3.5 to 4 million listeners weekly worldwide. And, just racking it up, man. I'm one of those guys that, I want to experience everything. I want to do anything that I've ever wanted to do. And this way, there are never any regrets. You know what I mean? If there's something I want to do, I say, I'm going to do it. And people might say, yeah, okay, whatever. And I say, all right, well, I'll make it happen. And sure enough, I will, put 200% in because that's what you need.
Yeah,
you can't
for sure.
get away with 100%. You need to do 200% or more. And, I try to put 200% into everything I do. And there it is. And every once in a while, guess what, guys, you fail. But those are the seeds that you utilize for success, because success does not happen without failure. And, entertainment industry, you hit a lot of walls. You got a lot of people that are out there that, whether they're haters and they want to knock you down, whether they're just trying to jump on your coattails. There's other people that, will utilize you for as far as you can take them. And then there are real deal people who want to see you succeed and will put you in the places that you need to be. I mean, you have like this giant world of, different types of people that you have to look out for. And you have to look out for. Hope that makes sense to you guys. But yeah, so 41 years, in entertainment, I've seen some stuff and things.
I like your idea of the fact that you want to basically do everything you can. That way you have no regrets with it. Because there's so many people that their life stops because they're fearing it. When, truth be told, if you just say screw it and do it, it's so much better.
Oh, it's a wild time. Actually, one of my good friends, maybe he got this from a fortune cookie, but I think it's fantastic. He said to me recently, actually, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And that's kind of how we ended up here with this show,
Yeah. At the end of the day, people are afraid to take that jump. They're afraid to look outside of the box and kind of make things happen. And listen, it's not that I have all these resources all the time and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this. No, I go out and I say, all right, well, I want to do this. So I seek out who I need to deal with to do X, Y, and Z, and I figure out, the best route to do that X, Y, and Z. I did when I was on tour. Signing at all the comic book conventions. I do a lot of signings for the cons, and when I started doing that, to get to support my comic book and the kids' books and so forth, I said to my director of operations at the time, because I own a couple companies as well. I own Hound Comics Inc., Hound Entertainment Group, and I have myself and my partners with the Grindhouse Radio. But so with Hound, when I was starting to promote the comics and the kids' books and the toys and all that jazz, I said, well, I'm gonna have to start doing the Comic Cons again, not just on the wrestling stuff. I'm going to be doing it for the comics and this stuff as well. So I said, Aton, I said, I can't just go out on the road and see trains, planes, and automobiles, the inside of arenas and hotel rooms and all that jazz, and not see where I'm going anymore. I said, I have to enjoy myself. And
Absolutely.
he says to me, he goes, what do you want to do? I said, well, I like to eat. He goes, yeah, well, we know that, Brim. I said, thank you so much. And then I said, well, and I can speak. He goes, yeah, you could talk for days, brother. I said, yeah, thank you so much. We all know that. What do you call? I said, well, why don't we do something in the foodie realm? Because I'm a bit of a grill master. I sit and I cook all the time. And I said, why don't we go and find the 5-star restaurants and the mom and pop hot dog shops in all of these different areas and do like little Food Hound reviews, and he's like, Food Hound. I was like, yeah, I'm the original Food Hound. I was like, I know food, I know where to sniff it out, know where to find it, and so forth. And we get all those delicious flavor behaviors on our taste buds, give it a taste bud tango. And I started throwing out all these lines, and he's like, you are out of your goddamn mind. I said, I am. And I said, and the tidbit stars, because we're giving you tidbits of information on all the different locations, whether it be like again, a mom and pop hot dog shop and what's their story and where'd they come from, and and other places we did haunted spots and speakeasies and all this other stuff that was just insane. And we wound up making Food Hound Tidbits 3 seasons. So what's the next natural progression of that? The next natural progression is, well, why don't you do some kind of a foodie line? So I was able to work it out without getting into the whole rigmarole of where and how and when. I worked it out with pretty much the godfather of hot sauce. And I set up my own sauce and seasoning line with him, as well as my buddy Bumblefoot, who was at the time with Guns N' Roses. So, Bumble and I, then went on tour to support that stuff. You know what I mean? So it was like it all kind of connects. And the one thing about, and because I always wanted to do sauces and seasonings, so
Yeah.
just that was the reason for the story. So I found a way to make that happen. And then I said, well, I always loved coffee, so I started a coffee line with a company here on Long Island. I'm Long Island, New York. I wanted candy, so I worked out the deal with the candy company I deal with, who the woman who owns it is the daughter of the guy who created Jelly Belly jelly beans. So like you always sniff it out. Chocolate bars. Well, my buddy Stan Lee. If you guys don't know who Stan Lee is, then you don't know Marvel. But
I'd say
Stan,
you've been under a rock.
yeah, Stan. I'm the celebrity spokesperson for his foundation. So Stan, when he was alive, every so often, I would try to get out to his offices and hang out and chat. And I was also very close with his crew. And I wound up going into he was doing something with this place right on Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood and Vine is the what do you call it? Is the mall. Or right by Hollywood and Vine is the mall. And it's the Hollywood and Highland Mall. So what happens is they had like the biggest candy store in that I've ever seen, aside from I forget what the hell that other place is, which is bigger, but this place was huge. And I was like, well, Stan has his own chocolate bars in here. Well, guess what? Old Brim's gonna have his own chocolate bar too. So I went in, and I got a call. They called him over from Stan's offices. They're like, Brim's coming over, and we wound up making a what do you call it, a chocolate bar. So you always kind of have to roll and build, and you seek out opportunity and make it work. So like for me, the other thing with all this is that everything connects. So a lot of people are like, well, all right, well, you're you were a pro wrestler and now you're doing foodie stuff and then you're doing radio and you did comics. And how does it kind of work? Well, it works quite quite fluidly, to be completely honest. If you want me to answer that, to go there, I will, but I don't want to just keep talking. So
It seems
tell me
like
what you want.
you're good, man. But it seems like you got your hands in a lot of jars at one time.
Yeah, your
Yes.
taxes must be a hell of a thing to do every year.
Well, you could ask my accountant that, but he probably won't answer. So he hides from me too. But that being said, yeah, man, everything's connected. Everything's well connected. When you're in pro wrestling, what's the next natural progression of professional wrestling? I'm always thinking, what's the next natural progression?
Yeah, you just kind of build on branding, right?
Yeah, it's building branding, and marketing. You got to market.
Well, especially because you can't be doing wrestling forever. I mean, there's a point where your body starts to break, especially with wrestling.
Right. Yeah, and I'm feeling it now, unfortunately, at 46, and I have not been in the ring for probably about 8 to 10 years at this point. Even though people keep trying to goad me back in, I haven't done it. And it's funny because one of my co-hosts, Mr. Greer, is consistently saying, "Yeah, it depends on what day you're telling us whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it. Yeah, you're gonna go do something else, and then you're not gonna do something else." And I'm like, "Well, look, if the right opportunity came along, maybe I would consider it." But at the end of the day, it's not like I'm one of these ginormous superstars that you're gonna make a couple mil getting in the ring for a 5-minute, 10-minute match. You know what I mean? That's not the case here. So at the end of the day, if I do it, it would be for a big charity or something to kind of
something worthwhile.
back. Yeah, So aside from that, man, I just try to make things happen and make things work. And you got to keep digging.
Besides Sesame Street, I mean, unless you consider Sesame Street to be your big break, like what was it that first got you moving and everything?
So I didn't even realize that when I was 5, I had an agent. I had more than one agent, actually. I had 2 agents. I had contracts. I had things going on that my mother was dealing with. And my mother passed away about 3 years ago, and we've been in the process. We finally just sold her house.
Sorry to hear about it.
Well, thank you, but it was an undertaking. But that being said, I found what do you call it, like in different areas. We found my original Sesame Street contract for like a 3-month contract with Sesame Street. I found all these agent, contracts and everything. And I'm going, holy crap, I didn't even know that I had a formal agent, way back when, and I didn't have one at the time, but what do you call it? Now I do have a new agent and everything and so forth. But that being said, it was that was my first foray into it, but my parents were divorced when I was very young. So, when it came to going to auditions, if it were taking place when my father would have me, there would be some issues and so forth. So that got cut short, and then later on, I started, when I was still a kid, I fell in love with like comic books, Spider-Man and X-Men and all that jazz. And I wanted to be a famous artist. I wanted to be a comic book artist, and that was what I wanted to do. And obviously that didn't happen, but I wasn't bad. I just didn't pursue it, which I should have pursued. But at the end of the day, my first real true love was drumming. I became a drummer. I went I started in elementary school. As soon as we got past the violin stage, everybody's got to get the violin and drive their parents crazy. I don't know what it is, but it's like a rite of passage. You've got to kind of drive your folks crazy. So I had that and the recorder. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm the master on that. Hot cross buns, man. Hot cross buns.
That's what I'm talking about.
The only instrument I ever had was the recorder, because they were like, you need to put that fucking thing down and never touch it again.
What are you doing in there? You're making too much noise. They taught me in school. So, so I wound up, after we got past that, they gave me the opportunity of a regular instrument for band. And I'm like, I want to play the drums. And I did drums and percussion, and I was a drummer for many, many years. I went to school. I went to college to drum and, for music. And that's where I got my first break in radio, where I first started doing, being interviewed professionally, was at Nassau Community College. You know what I mean? Their radio station was the first one I ever did. And then, it's all history from there. I toured the world in music. Then, I got sick of being in a 5-way marriage, and I got out of music and I got into, pro wrestling, which, So yeah, I had different breaks for different careers, and I mean, obviously the Brimstone name came from pro wrestling. So, I had a, where as to where I wasn't one of these big superstars, I did have a very big name in the independent circuit. I did work for the big guys. I did everything that you could possibly think of. It's just, there's just some certain amount of spots that you can work with, but I made the most of what I built with my brand and my name,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm still here. And there are a lot of people that have made it a lot further, with the WWE, who are doing nothing, at this point. So, and that's not a knock on anybody. That's just
Yeah, it all comes
that's
down to planning. I mean, you see it with
yeah,
with other major sports too, where they make millions and millions of dollars, and then when they finally retire, which isn't long down the line, they've got
yeah,
nothing because they weren't planning for anything.
Well,
right,
you know what the difference is too is that Brim, you're a little bit different yourself, but a lot of those guys, they're professional athletes. That's all of it. They're not
yep,
they're not
yep.
big on branding. They don't have this entrepreneurial thing going on. They can wrestle or they can play football, and when they're done, that's it. They never really thought about it before. Whereas you're always going.
That's it's the name of the game. If you're not, then somebody else is going to do it. If you're not doing it, someone else will. And
Oh, absolutely.
and at the end of the day, and look, and there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with that. And the fact of the matter is that that is it's 100% respectful. I personally could never work for somebody else and give my 200% to somebody else to build their future. That's my personal thought behind it. But I respect the people that do, and it's funny because a lot of people that do work 9 to 5s, and again, a lot of friends of mine and people that I know, they're like, oh yeah, you have a fun job, and all you do, you're hanging out with other celebs, and you guys are partying it up, and you're traveling, and this and that. And then I said, bro, I haven't slept in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just so I have not slept in 3 weeks. I've got a schedule that you have, no idea about. I'm the one that, yeah, I get to travel. Guess what I get to do? I get to take, however many flights to XYZ, wherever I'm going in the country or the world. Then I've got to be up at, early, up very early to do early morning media. Then I've got to be at a convention sitting and talking and having, doesn't matter if I'm having a bad day, I have to be smiling and happy and on all day long. And yes, I do get to meet fans, and that's one of the most amazing things ever. You know what I mean? The cons are one of the best things because you get to meet people, greet people, hear their stories. I've had girls come from, I had a girl come from Canada when I was signing in Vermont, and she was crying on the line because she was coming to meet me. It was like the most humbling thing you could ever see and have happen. And to this day, I still stay in touch with her because she was that fabulous. And it was that dedicated to come over to see me. But one of these things is like, so all day long you're on an emotional roller coaster. Then when I'm done there, I've got to go do more late night media. After that, I've got to go and do the obligatory appearance at their after party. You know what I'm saying? And
It's
you
a
got to be
constant
on
busy schedule.
just to wake up the next morning and do the same damn thing. You know what I mean? And don't forget, I own 2 businesses and I also have a family. So I'm also working throughout the day in between and taking whatever breaks I take. I'm sitting there on my phone doing whatever I have to do. We're not even counting social media at this point. You know what I'm saying? We're sitting and going through all this stuff. And that's just if I'm going away to sign for a weekend. You know what I mean? My day to day is busy, busy, busy. I have people that I deal with all over the world. So if somebody contacts me, and they're on the other side of the world and I got to do something at 3, 4 in the morning, guess what? Guess who's awake at 3 or 4 in the
Yep.
morning?
Yeah.
And then I'm up at what time? 6, 7, 8, depending. The dog's usually up. We got a new puppy, so I'm up at 6:30, 7 o'clock
Oh, I
anyway.
hear you there.
So, but you see what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of fun, yeah, and you get great perks, yeah. But there's a lot of work that people don't see. And so I work, when people go in at 9 to 5, they're there from 9 to 5. And if they stay later, guess what? They're getting overtime. I might not get paid for 3 months. When I get paid, it's might be a bigger check. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm working, like every single day. So it's a different type of a lifestyle altogether. And I respect everybody who does both, whether it be 9 to 5 or make their, work as an entrepreneur or work as an entertainer. And again, one of my big things is entertainers are entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs should be entertaining.
Yeah,
So,
they
you
should.
know,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when we got into the whole podcast game, I don't think we had any clue on the amount of work that it was going to take. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
and
Yeah.
we really enjoyed doing it. So, you know what I mean? Is it really work? No, but it takes up a shit ton of time.
well,
Yeah.
listen, it will work. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
Even if you don't think it's working, it's working. And the biggest thing, if I could give any advice in terms of any of that, whether you want it or not, I'm going to give it to you anyway. But create for yourselves. You create
yeah, we
for
do.
you, the people will come. You know what I mean?
And that's the
I
thing
didn't
we
mean to
found.
cut you off.
No,
No,
don't
it's okay.
worry
It's,
about it, dude.
it's that genuine creation that's what draws people in. I mean, yeah, you can get somewhere with just something commercial that you think will sell, but you get the staying power when you're just true to what you want to do. That's what people want to see.
Absolutely. And build the brand.
And that's the biggest thing for
brand.
us. We're doing it because we just love doing it. Like meeting new people, figuring out new shit. But when you were talking about meeting fans, the first few times we've had interviewers come on and like talk to us, like they're like pumped to meet us. I don't know about Jerry. I had no clue how to respond. You're like, why? Who cares about me?
Yeah,
Like, why
from
do you
our
give a
perspective,
shit?
we're just normal people, you know. But you know, we have 1 foot in the 9 to 5 world, 1 foot in the entertainment industry. So we're seeing it from both sides. And you're right. I mean, a lot of people don't realize the grind that's there. So, you know, we're behind the scenes. We're grinding every day. So we're not thinking about, oh, people think we're cool as hell. Really, we're just tired and having a good time.
Well, you don't look exhausted to me. You guys look perfectly fine. What do you call it?
Well, we're
yeah,
on
no,
air. We're on.
You got to be on. Got to be on. You know, you got to bring it. Got to bring the energy. And you know, people don't realize that. They don't realize that. And you know, when you're working a 9 to 5, and then you're doing your own thing, you know, until that your own thing takes off, and then you can get rid of the 9 to 5. Guess what? You're working double time. You know what I mean? Because you've got a full-time job and another full-time job. So hats off to you guys. I'm impressed. And you know, at the end of the day, like I said, everything I respect what everybody does. If you're doing something positive, and you're not sitting on your ass and doing nothing, I'm impressed and I respect you, you know? So it's the people that don't do anything and they just sit on their laurels that I, you know, it's like, all right, well, you know, and I like people that work hard and that respect, you know, their, you know, respect the grind, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for me, looking at you, like, it's like you own your own, like you are your own business, which if you've ever met anyone who owns their own business, they're running around like a chicken with their head cut off, but you've got like 16 different things or more so going on. So good God, man.
That's before I even get to sleep with my wife. So, so yeah. And then I got to have that extra energy because, you know, what do you call it? And then afterwards, then I get more energy and I can't go to sleep. And then I'm up working some more. God damn it. But, anyways.
No,
Yeah, but it's always worth it in the end. And, you know, you've had a crazy trajectory, but you seem happy with where you're at, right?
Yeah, listen, here it is. I'm always happy. I'm never satisfied. Does that make sense?
Actually, I feel the same way because Grizz, this is kind of the first thing he's done with what we'll call the entertainment industry. And the reason we ended up doing this is, for one, we have these conversations even if we're off air, so we were already doing it. But there's starting in 2019ish, I was getting into video production and voiceover stuff. Then the pandemic squashed a lot of that, so we're like, hey, yo, let's talk to people. That's what we do anyway. We'll have fun with it.
Smart, very smart. And what's great is a lot of people that podcast don't realize that they can get into voiceover as well. Not everybody has the knack for it, but you know, at the end of the day, you have all the equipment. You might as well start podcasting, or if you're a podcaster, you might as well start doing voice work. You know,
dude, with my voice, I figured no one would ever want to hear my voice on the air.
Grizz has the voice of an angel.
No,
yes,
I
he
realize
does.
that now. But when growing up, I was like, why the hell would anyone want to hear my voice?
It's a weird phenomenon too, because I don't know how Grizz felt about it. He doesn't have a lot of emotions, but almost everybody that I've talked to, myself included, the first time you hear yourself on a recording or played back, you're like, oh my God, that's disgusting. I can't do this anymore.
You know what's really funny?
I did not have that reaction.
You know what's really funny for me? I personally, I can't stand hearing myself on air and when I'm doing interviews and so forth with my regular voice. When I'm doing voice work, I actually enjoy it. I enjoy listening back or watching it.
I actually feel the same way. My regular voice, like you're hearing right now, I'm not a big fan of it. So people seem to like it, but all my voiceover stuff that I've done, I listen back, I'm like, God damn, I sound good.
That's, and that's a good thing. You want to know why? Because if you don't believe in yourself, ain't nobody else going to believe in you. So you need to make sure that you're showing that love to yourself. So many people don't, they oh, I suck. I can't do it. No, just freaking do it. Just put your best foot forward and give it the best freaking college try, man. People are so scared. They're so afraid to do anything that's outside of the proverbial box. The fact of the matter is, great things happen once you step outside that box.
Every time, man.
Every time you step out of your comfort zone, that's when big things happen. And look, at the end of the day, people need to kind of, if they want more out of their life and they want more out of, whatever they're working on at the time, like we were discussing, podcast or voiceover podcast, whatever it is, then you're just going to always stay status quo,
Yeah.
And I'd much rather continue to build my repertoire, because at the end of the day, my legacy is what I leave, and that's what I'm looking to do, is leave a legacy, where people go, you know what, that guy, he busted his ass, he worked hard, he provided for his family, he was good to his fans, and he was real, and he gave back. You know what I mean? Hell, man, I give back all the time, not because I want to get patted on the back for it. It's because it's the right thing to do. So yeah, we have awards on the, well, I have an Empire State Award from New York State, for giving back during the pandemic. I went, what do you call it, with I got my people from Walmart to go into it with me, and we donated to one of the local food banks. You know what I mean? Just to give back, and I didn't ask for the award. They gave it to us. Thank you. You know what I mean? We didn't do it for the accolades. You know what I mean? We did it because it was the right thing to do, and more people should want to do that.
Hopefully that's something that spreads.
I was gonna say, I've done the same thing too. I mean, now that we've got a lot of this experience doing what we're doing, I try to give back now. Grizz he's a little bit more pressed for time, but a couple of times now there's a nonprofit organization that I like to work with. I donate video services and stuff to them. I made a commercial, did a live event for them. HVCC, Hockenham Valley Community Council. So they and it's not because I'm getting patted on the back, just like you said. Most people don't even know I did it. It's just I like the cause. They are giving back to their community, so I wanted to help them out, and I had the skills to do it, so that's what I did. And these are skills that I would never have developed if I didn't step outside that box, just like yourself. It's just doing 9 to 5, but that's not for me either. It's just, I'm still doing it right now to pay the bills, but
it's a necessity. You know what? And the day will come. I'll tell you right now, Jerry, the day will come where you're going to have to make a decision. Should I cut the cord and leave the 9 to 5 safety net and do my thing full time? Or do I stay, connected and it's a big decision. It's a very big decision. But when I tell you, when you believe in yourself and you put yourself out there and you do your own thing, bro, nobody can take that away from you. I'd rather make less and work for myself than make more and work for somebody else. That's just me. But one day when you get to that spot and you go, all right, well, what do I do? It's the scariest thing you'll ever do. It is the scariest thing.
Hell yeah.
Because that's your lifeline. That's your safety rope. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do I do? Am I gonna make this work? And look, if you do it and you believe in yourself and you actually work, there's no stopping you. And you will thank the Lord that you made that freaking decision. And you'll call me up and be like, Brim, you were right. But but again, it's the scariest thing ever. And people are usually too scared to make that decision, and they don't believe in themselves. And I think that is a big issue in the world today. I think that people should believe in themselves more, stop fighting each other. Everybody should be peaceful. Everybody should take care of one another, and everybody should help each other succeed. And I believe that everybody should believe in each other, believe in themselves a lot more than what they do. And that's public service announcement.
We've seen a lot more of that, like with doing the show. We're running into more people who are trying to actually bring the people around them up versus bringing them down. You know what I mean?
That's where
Like,
it's at.
always, whenever you're looking at the news or anything, or social media or anything like that, it's always someone trying to bring someone else down. But
Yeah.
whenever you're with the people we run into with what we're doing now, everyone's always trying to bring you up, trying to help you out, and we're doing the same with them. I don't know. Will Scott's episode air by now?
Not yet. That's next week, I think.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, by the time Brim comes out.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
By the time this one's out, yeah, Scott will be out too.
But I mean,
Yeah.
so like we helped out another buddy. Like you're just constantly passing the, hey, you're turning another leaf and helping. I'm wording that awfully.
That's
You know what I mean?
Chris is
But
not a
you're
Paying it
wordsmith.
forward. You're paying it
Yeah.
forward
Yeah.
and helping somebody else. There you go. What do you call it? And
Mini
that's
stroke.
the way to do it. We've done what do you call it over the years, a Grindhouse. One of the big things that we've done is we will do like podcast 101, 201, 301s. We'll go and we've done appearances for everything. Don't even laugh, at libraries, universities, businesses, college, like kids, not kids, high schools, you know what I mean? Just sitting down and yeah, somebody pays us to come in. But there are other ones that we do, pro bono. But we go in and so usually they'll say, okay, it's an hour and a half. We're there for like 3 hours, 3.5
Oh, yeah.
hours. Giving extra time to make sure that people have all the questions answered and so forth. I mean, and then like here, Clubhouse. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Clubhouse. I'm on Clubhouse. Kim's on
Mhm.
Clubhouse. Tom's on Clubhouse. And what do? We go and I'm still new on it. And every time I go on, thankfully, thank you guys, is they mod me most of the time, and because I'm giving valuable information that can help other people,
Yeah.
and I leave myself open. So if somebody messages me on Instagram, because I'm very heavy on Insta, it's always me who will answer you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not my assistant, it's not my wife, it's not my best friend, it's me. I'm the one answering you, and I look at all my messages, and and if
That's
I
a
don't
full-time
see you,
job right there.
it is. It is. But people sometimes, this guy said he answers, but I didn't see your message because there's 3 different areas in Insta. There's the primary, there's general, there's primary or general, and then the I don't necessarily want to see you area. And it's when you're not friends with the person on or you're not following each other, sometimes it goes into that zone, so you don't always see it. So I get a lot of requests there. And then every so often I remember, I have to check that area. So people, I might not get to you right away, but I will get to you. But I always try to answer questions because, at the end of the day, people need that kind of guidance. And you know what? I don't care how, big of a deal I am or I'm not. I have no problem giving back to the people, that are trying to make something of themselves. Because like I said, help those who want to help themselves.
Well, I guarantee someone helped you. Someone along the way took you under their wing and helped you with the ropes too. You know what I mean?
Nope, they didn't.
Oh, not at all. They said,
Nope.
"Screw you."
Most people. The funny thing is that there. Okay, let me take that back. There were a couple of people that guided me in different directions, in terms of the wrestling industry.
Mhm.
That
Right.
yes, but in general, the overall arc, I wasn't lucky enough to have a mentor. However, there were a lot of people that I looked up to in the different areas and different genres that I've been in that I've now become friends with. You know what I mean? So like the people over the years, like when I was drumming, and that was my regular thing. Like there were guys that like Rod Morgenstein from Winger and Dixie Dregs, Fred Curry from Cinderella, what do you call it? You name it. Like Tommy Lee, was the big reason I wanted to really drum when I got older and go on the road. And all these guys, I know them personally now. Jimmy DeAnda from the Bullet Boys. These are guys that I communicate with, and they're friends of mine. So like, so yeah, we weren't friends then, but they're the ones that kind of gave me that like oomph to get up and go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's crazy how things and amazing how things have come full circle a lot in my career. You know what I mean? With the acting. Well, now I'm acting again. I have a very big agent. We're working on a bunch of different things. Then the next thing was the art. Well, even though I wasn't doing art, I did comic books, and then I'm with Stan freaking Lee, until he passed. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that
Which
was a big
as
thing.
a comic book artist is literally your highlight of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. what do you call it, music, the same thing. I toured with music and now friendly with a lot of the guys that I used to have on my walls. Which kind of sounds really bad at this time, like, oh, I had guys on my walls. Anyway, when you had the posters on the walls of the different bands that you were into. And what
Do
do you
kids
call
still
it?
do that nowadays? I don't even know.
I don't know. We did this back in the day. I don't know how old you guys are, but when I was a kid, that's what we did.
You don't have too many years on me.
Well, then you should remember, I didn't do the bop and things like that. I had like Metal Edge and stuff like that.
I had Metallica and things of that nature.
There you go. See, but you had guys on your wall.
Oh, yeah.
Now I don't feel as bad. I also had women on my wall, and they were naked, so I was all right. And look, hey, everybody loved Samantha Fox back then. I had Samantha Fox, Alyssa Milano, what do you call it? Christina Applegate. All right. And what's funny is I have a funny Alyssa Milano story. I'll tell you guys off the air another time, though. I'll tell you that story
now. How the hell did you transition from music to wrestling?
So that was an interesting thing. At the time, so I was in music for quite some time, obviously, and at that point, even though I was a touring musician, I also worked for the Village Voice, but it wasn't the Village Voice; it was the Long Island version. So it was the Long Island Voice. It was a sister company of for Stern Publishing. So essentially, Andrea Stern, who was the daughter of Stern, the guy who owned Village Voice, she wanted a pet project, so she started doing the Long Island Voice. And I was pretty much, in charge of. I was brought in. I did, sales, marketing, advertising for what do you call it? And I did a lot with the clubs and bars. So that was my scene because I knew everybody in the music world, you know. So I was like, yeah, so I could do what I do and I can make money at the same time. I'm in, So like,
yeah, why not?
Yeah, so I wound up doing I was doing print sales, and I got to do everything and network with all the people I usually networked with, and I was doing quite well, and they knew that I was kind of like a jack of all trades. They knew I was already doing X, Y, and Z, and one of the things that I don't promote often, but I'm a published photographer as well, so I've done that as in the past too, and I've been in a bunch of books. And they said, we're short on staff, and one of our writers is Bill Jensen is going out to do this covering of a small wrestling convention that's taking place. It's actually down the road, but we don't have a photographer to go with him. Do you think that you might be able to go with him and give us a hand and take a few pictures, and we'll pay you for it. We'll give you one of our house cameras. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So and I was gonna get paid. I was like, double whammy, I'm in, because they knew I liked wrestling. Like, I was the kid who used to we'd have these WrestleMania parties and SummerSlam, and I'd be tossing people around, and so they knew I liked it. So I wound up going down with Bill, and we wound up interviewing. Well, I didn't. He was interviewing a whole bunch of people that wound up becoming my friends later on in the career. And we'd spoken with Bret Hart because Bret was there, and so Bret knew that I was there with the publication. And then I was walking towards Iron Sheik, and Sheiky, who again is a friend nowadays, he looks at me and goes, You look like you could be a wrestler. I train you. I bring you in. I humble you. I train you and this, and you can bring me, and I'm like, whoa, and then his agent comes over at the time, Snapshot Eric Sims, and Eric, good dude, and he's still, I believe, repping Sheiky, and so he says to me, starts what we call in wrestling a work. She starts working me, and it's like, yeah, well, you can bring the Sheik out to you, and it would cost X, Y, and Z, and blah blah blah. Or you could go out to Georgia where he is, and you can pay. It'll be cost this, blah blah blah. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. Like, I wasn't ready for all that, I wasn't ready for it. But I never had that spark in my mind, like, maybe I could go and do professional wrestling. So as that's happening, Bret Hart overheard the conversation, and he calls me over, and and he was leaving. He had his gear with him, not his gear, he had his bag. He was about to fly out. It must have been to, like, at that point, Monday Nitro or whatever it was, WCW at the time. And he said to me, he goes, look, I heard you talking to Sheik and Snapshot, and if you're really interested in getting into the industry, Here's my email address. And let me know if you have any questions, if I can be of any assistance. I'll be happy to give you some answers. I'm assuming he did it because he knew that I was with the publication and we already had interaction. I wasn't just some rando, fan off the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of him doing something like that. But at that point, I really wasn't into wrestling that much. I was into watching to a certain extent, but I was like, wow, that's fantastic of you. Thank you. And about a month or two later, I was looking through a magazine and there was a new school that was opening, and I contacted Bret, and it was old school email, AOL rather, old school AOL, and I said, hey, what do you think of this? And he said, this is what to look out for. I went down, and everything seemed legit from what he was saying, and that's history, man. And that was over 20 years ago. So so Bret was a very cool guy, and the coolest thing is out in San Antonio. So I was out in San Antonio, and what do you call? I came in from dinner, and I was out with a couple of friends. I was with my buddy Ray Park and Daniel Logan from Star Wars, and we were walking in, and they were going to do something else, and some of my friends were up at the bar. There was like Nash and Hall, and I hadn't seen them in a minute, so I went up to them, and Bret happened to be there because he was signing for the weekend, and I was like, you know what, Bret and I had not seen each other since way back when, and he probably doesn't even remember me anymore. But I went over to him and I actually I shook his hand and I said, Bret, I got to tell you, I wanna thank you for everything you've done for me, because had it not been for you, I may not have been here now. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, absolutely.
signing, alongside you guys. And he probably had no idea, what I was saying or who I was. Um, but I, at the end of the day, he's thank you for that, and we had a couple more minutes of chat, and he was going up to his room, and I went and hung out with Hall for the rest of the night. But at the end of the day, it was one of those things where it felt good to thank him for helping me out. So again, that's the little bit of a mentoring type of thing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it wasn't like he was guiding me throughout my whole career.
Yeah, you still had to make your own way.
Yeah. So that was that. And the funny thing is the same kind of thing happened with Tommy Lee. But Tommy was a we considered him like a unicorn, because every time I was supposed to do something with Tommy, whether it was an event at a club or a signing somewhere, whatever it was, something would happen to screw it up. Either I got booked somewhere else and had to do something else, which trumped what we were doing together, or the same for him, or he didn't show up till late, or like even just coming into a club at like a literally like an hour and a half difference. Like it was stupid. I never got to meet the guy, and then finally I'm signing at this convention. I sign at like tattoo conventions and stuff as well. And this place, Resorts World Casino here on the island, is they do big events and whatnot, and I'm there all the time. Well, when the world is open, and I'll never forget it, because the main security guard that would always watch over me and was in the area, they called him Dallas, big black dude, cool as hell. And he says to me, he goes, every time he sees me, comes over, always talks to me, right? Always talks to me. Wanted to be a wrestler himself. He makes me look like a tiny tot. This
Yeah,
guy's
yeah.
huge. So sweet as candy. And it was funny because he knows me for years at that point. And he says, man, it's a crazy weekend. Not only do I have you all day, I've got to watch over here. He's like, but I've got to go, and I've got a musician coming in later. Good buddy of mine, I haven't seen him in a minute, but he's going to be here, tonight. I'm like, oh, I said, who? Tell me who you watching. He goes, I don't know if you know him. He's a drummer. His name's Tommy Lee. Get the
I
hell
don't know
outta
if you
here.
know him.
Get the hell out of here. So it's like, yeah, I said, okay. So I told him the story. I told him the Tommy story. That like every time I said this guy's like a unicorn, we think we think he exists, but it's possible he doesn't. So what do you call it? He's like, well, he goes, well, I'm gonna introduce you to him. I'm gonna take you upstairs. I'll escort you up there later, and blah blah blah. So I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, because something always happens.
Yeah, yeah.
So the day goes by, and I'm there doing my thing. It's getting a little late, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna bounce out of here. So I collect my stuff, and I walk around, because my buddy Guy, who's also on Grindhouse, He's the old bass player from Ludacris. If you like Metallica, maybe you remember Ludacris
Yeah,
and
yep.
what do you call it? And Scatterbrain. So he was in both those
Yep.
bands. And so Guy was around the corner doing his thing, and he also owns All Music Inc. So he had his stuff up in there. And so I was going to say goodbye to him, and all of a sudden you see this the freaking big old Dallas like this looking for me. He sees me, goes, "You." I go, "Whoa, what did I do?" So I was like, "Whoa, brother, I don't want to have to get going in here. We're gonna come to blows." No, joking around. And he's like, "I told you to stay there. I told you I was bringing you upstairs." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I said I was gonna bring you up to meet Tommy." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." He's like, "No, we're going now. Put your stuff, somewhere and let's go." So what do you call it? So I wound up. I said to Guy, I go say, "Hey, you want to go up and meet Tommy?" He's like, "Sure, why not?"
Yeah, why the hell not?
So so we went with Dallas. So Dallas and a bunch of other security guards escorted us through the entire casino, and we get to the door. So we're in front of the door of Tommy's door, and Dallas knocks, and somebody opens up a little bit like this, and it's the agent, and he sees it's Dallas. He's like, "Oh yeah, come in, come in, come in." So Dallas goes in, closes the door behind him. So we're here's the door, here's Guy and I, and then here's a line with like a ton, like a couple security guards, and then a ton of fans just waiting to see and catch a glimpse of him. So they're all like, wondering what the hell we're doing there until somebody realized who I was, and then they started asking me for stuff. We're out there for about half hour, okay, about a half hour. I said to Guy, I'm like, "We're bouncing. There's no way I'm waiting for this any longer." I said, I'm sure it's not going to happen anyway. And he's like, "All right, whatever you want to do." So then door opens up. We waited another 10 minutes. The door opens up as we're about to leave. Swear to God, we were literally about to walk away. Dallas is like, "All right, guys, come in." So like, okay, maybe this is happening. So we walked inside, and here we are. Now there's a regular room. So we wound up meeting a couple of people in his entourage, but Tommy is in like the other room. It's like a thing. So I knew he was there. I was like, "This is not really happening." I was like, "This is not happening," because again, this guy was responsible for me wanting to become a famous drummer. I wanted a drum, and that he's the one who gave me all the he's the one that made me want to do like crazy things with the sticks and crazy things while playing live. He was the guy. So Guy went in first. To meet him, because I was just like, I had to get myself composed. I'm like, I'm not nervous. I just wanted to say something that was going to be effed up, which to kind of mess with him a little bit, because that's just the way I am. So what do you call it? So Guy went in, and then I pulled the thing open. So it was like a sliding door or whatever the hell, I don't remember. And I walked in, I was like, "You," and I was like the biggest Brimstone wrestler voice, and then with my freaking big rings and doing the "you." It's like, "Every time I'm supposed to blah blah blah," and I went in, it's like, "You never show up, but I'm glad that we're finally meeting now." And he's like, "Oh, bro, I thought you were gonna kill me." It's like, I'm like, "Nah." So what do you call it? I told him, I said, "Look, I just wanted to thank you for everything." Same thing I did with Bret, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have made it to where I made it in music, to then go into wrestling and so forth. And the positive is he heard about me, he knew who I was, and that was even better, and that made me happy. And what do you call it? Although we're not friends, you know what I mean? I could say we're an acquaintance, and we got to meet finally, and that was a great thing to meet one of my heroes from my youth. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
and say the guy, he was a great freaking guy, sweet as hell. But yeah, so not mentors, but guys I looked up to. And that's my Tommy story.
Is it bad that whenever I hear Tommy Lee, all I can think of is the celebrity death match back in the day? Pretty much. The way he killed the guy was basically skull fucking him.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Did you know they were supposed to come back with celebrity death match?
Well,
yeah,
like
I think I saw a season
recently?
of it and it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Because they toned it down. Like, dude, it was so offensive back in the day, and it was great, but they can't.
Yeah,
do
that was
now.
why it was great.
Exactly.
That's why it was great.
Literally, Tommy Lee skull fucks a dude from across the ring. Like, you can't do that nowadays.
Truth. But yeah, it is what it is. What a nice dude, though, man. What a nice dude. So that was one of my happy accomplishments. Finally meeting my unicorn. You know what I mean? What do you call it? It was a cool one. just simply because it was such a hassle. And I don't chase anybody. Like, I don't go waiting on autograph lines. That's my peer. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my thing. You know, if we meet and things happen, or if somebody sets it up, great. I'm not going out of my way for it, you know? So like, for me, it was just like, wow, this is really cool. I'm glad this finally happened. And like I said, I was ready to leave. I wasn't going to stay. It was going to, I was ready to go. I called my wife. I'm like, babe, guess what? She's like, what? I'm like, I'm supposedly going to meet Tommy right now. She starts laughing.
Yeah,
Because
you're
it's been our
dreaming.
joke for like 10 years, you know? So she was like, yeah, okay. I'm like, no, seriously, Dallas, you know, I'm like, you know, remember Dallas, the security guy? Oh yeah, that big dude. I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, he's supposedly bringing us up there right now. He goes, she's like, tell me how that all works out. So when I told her it finally happened, she was thrilled for me. She was like, that's great, because we've been talking about it for so long, you know? That's that. Hope that wasn't too boring of a story for you.
No, it was good, man.
So I actually, this is the first time you mentioned your wife. Has she been pretty supportive of, I'll call it, your adventures?
Yeah. My wife is great. I've been with her just about 20 years.
Yeah.
What do you call it? And, you know, so my previous wife, I was not with for as long, obviously. But you know, my first two children, my son Dylan and my daughter Samantha, they're, you know, products of that marriage, but they're both, I had custody of both of them. They both lived with myself and my wife, and my wife was pretty much mom. You know, even though the other one was kind of still involved, Danielle was mom. But my wife, everybody, and if you follow me, you know that I'm married. You know that Danielle's my wife. You know I'm not interested in anything else. You know what I mean? You know that my kids are there, and I love my family. I'm a family guy. And she's been very, very supportive. You know, is she happy all the time? You know, if I'm taking pictures and the girls are like hanging on me, and you know, no, but you know, she understands that's, you know,
It's part of the game.
It's
game.
difficult being a spouse of someone who's in the entertainment gig.
Yeah. But she also knows that I'm loyal and I'm not going to cheat on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are a lot of people that, you know, they go out, and I'm not going to name names, but plenty of people that I know that they're like, okay, love you, babe. And then they go out and they're, you know, tossing around with other people. Not me. That's not my thing. That's not my style. You know, and yeah, the opportunities arise quite often, but you know, especially now, like, you know, years ago, you know, before my you know, my current wife, you know, things happened and people were around, and you know, I was a different person then. But you know, especially now, even if I wanted to, which I have no desire to, but even if I wanted to, there's so many cameras and so many people throwing out accusations all the time. It's like, even if you wanted to do something, you're stupid if you do it, because you're going to get caught.
Yeah, why would you want that headache?
I don't want, you know, like, I'm happy. You know, I'm blessed. I've got a great wife, beautiful kids. And, you know, and again, she is very supportive. Is she happy with me being gone when I'm gone and touring and so forth? No. Is she happy that my schedule's crazy? No. Is she happy that I run all these different businesses? You know, no. You know, she'd rather me work a 9 to 5, you know, but at the end of the day, she knows that's not me, and she supports that. But she also is queen of the calendar. So thankfully, you know, with her, she keeps my schedule pretty much intact between her and my assistant. My assistant now, throughout COVID, has not been here. So it's pretty much been myself and my wife doing it. So
she's the organizer.
Very helpful. Yeah, very helpful, because it's a lot. When you look at a schedule, a normal person's schedule is not so bad. My schedule is like, you know, it's like you know, a Tchaikovsky piece. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, Jerry learned this out the hard way.
Yeah. But scheduling before, you know, before the podcast, before doing voiceover stuff, it was easy because I just went to work. Yeah. And it was an interesting transition because, you know, I wasn't good at it. That's the bottom line. I was terrible.
He was awful.
You get used to it.
It's like, Jerry, get used to it. Put a fucking calendar on your phone, and I'm going to send you all the links, man.
That was revolutionary for me. Andy set it up so it automatically goes to my calendar when he sets up stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
It blew my mind that he didn't know of this.
It's on your phone. It's Google is right there, you know, like, it's on your phone. Or do you have an iPhone? I guess Google might not be on your iPhone.
No,
I have an iPhone, but it works the same way.
Google.
Same thing. So Greer from GHR, he's he's starting to do a lot more, external interviews, and he's doing things, and he's got his hands in some other cookie jars, and following the lead, as is Kim. And now Tom and Kim are dating after so many years. Now the two of them got together, so now I'm outnumbered. But but Greer, it was the funniest thing, because we keep telling him, like, he goes, "Oh crap, I almost forgot this, or I almost forgot that." It's like, use your goddamn calendar and write it in, and then you'll always know what you have to do and when. And he's like, point taken. Good point.
Some people just don't think of it, though, man. They don't think to go to that.
Yeah. He's finally doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jerry too, thankfully.
Yeah. I'm right there with him. I mean, the same transition. Yes, he did. It hurt, but it was worth it.
Yeah. But you know what? It will save your ass, and it will give you a what do you call it? A peace of mind, knowing that you're not going to forget something that was important. Because the more you do, and the further you get in the industry, and the more people you're dealing with, you don't want to screw up and not call somebody when you were supposed to call them. Because that might be a gig, that might be a job,
yeah. God knows what that'll turn into.
A sponsorship, that might be something. Who knows?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Second chances are not common in entertainment.
No. Nope. So yeah. It's a very, very interesting world, I got to tell you. But yeah, we all live in it.
So go ahead,
Jerry.
Grizz, go ahead. You got a question.
Good.
Go ahead.
It's
No. Come on. I want to know what you wanted to say.
I was going to ask him where he was going from here.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. We'll get into my topic after that. That's a totally different question.
That's what I'm saying.
Going into the green room to get some Jägermeister, and then I'm going to be ready for my next interview that comes after this. No, I'm in terms of I'm assuming in terms of career
Of life and career.
Yeah.
I'm Grindhouse is on a great path. We're doing a lot with that. We're doing some things that we're branching off with I can't talk about now. I'm doing something. I have a project going on with my son and a couple of friends, and for a big streaming network. So we will be getting to that eventually, that we could talk about, but we will be filming soon.
Damn non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah, once I'm outside of NDA, I can talk. There's another cartoon that I'm supposed to be doing and voicing for one of the big networks. I can't tell you which one and what the project is, but that's another one. And I've got some other really cool things going on, and look. Some things, you expect them to happen and they don't, and some things you don't expect to happen and they do. So COVID kind of screwed things up a little bit. I had two big things going to a network at one, three things going to a network at one time. Now there are only two for that, and now this new streaming one that I was just mentioning. So
yeah, I think COVID threw a wrench in the works for everyone.
I hope that makes sense. And then next week I'm heading back out to Pennsylvania, and I'm bringing back with my buddies over at Torchbearer Sauces. We're bringing back a couple of my older sauces and seasonings, and I believe we're creating another new one. So I'm going to be spending 2 days there to do all that. So that's going to be a lot of fun too.
How hot are your sauces? I like hot.
How hot do you go?
I mean, I don't want to die.
6.5 million on the Scoville scale.
Jesus, that's fucking hot, man.
It's hot. Yeah. But we do everything with flavor. Everything I have is flavorful. It's I don't do hot for the sake of doing hot. But I like a little bit of a kick, and then getting all the flavors. So if you have a tolerance with the hot ones, you'll get the flavor, and then you're going to get the kick. If you have no tolerance, you're going to die. But that's with my hot ones. My other ones are.
But I mean, if you got no tolerance, why are you looking at hot sauce in the first place, right?
Right. But I do have stuff that's not hot sauce or not super hot sauce. Like I have a sweet chili hot sauce, which is not a hot sauce. It is very mild and it's delicious, and it's one of the favorites. People absolutely adore it. So it's been out for a while because I was switching co-packers. So now they're going to be doing them over there, and we're just going to get everything right.
So do you sell those like from your website, or are they in stock somewhere? Because I would love to try them.
Those are so right now, like I said, I'm transitioning everything over to Torchbearer Sauces. So normally I would have them on my site. But now you're going to be getting them. Like right now, the only one available is the Torchstone tie, and that one is available at torchbearersauces.com. So if you go there and you can order it there, you can go to my website and go to and find the little area on Torchstone's High there with all the. There's a bunch of different reviews and so forth and video reviews, so you can get an idea of the sauce itself. And then if you're interested, there's a link there to go to their website to get it. And shortly we're gonna have, I believe it's either, I think we can do the flavor behavior and or grindhouse seasoning, as well as the dust from hell. And I'm going to be re-putting out the sweet heat treat, which is a sweet chili hot sauce, which is unbelievable. So,
Well, I'll be going to get some myself.
Thank you.
I'm a sauce guy. Actually, I think Grizz, we're both sauce guys, right?
he's like,
Fine. No, I mean, I like. Listen, my view on life is the same thing with food, right? You got to try it. It doesn't matter if you like it. You got to try it, right?
Right.
So whether, even though I know I used to hate heat, hated it, wouldn't touch it. Now it's a lot of what I do.
Right.
So I'll always try something new. My wife won't touch a lot of stuff now.
So the what do you call it? The Torchstone Thai it's got a really delicious flavor, and then you get in the burn afterwards. So as long as you have a little bit of tolerance, or you eat it with like something like on rice or something that's going to dull down the heat, you'll be all right. It's not going to kill you, but it's hot. It is hot. My necrocide is 6.5 million on the Scoville scale. Torchstone is not.
See, I know there's a following when it comes to hot sauces. I know there are people who
Yeah, chili heads are amazing.
they're all worried about the Scovilles. I don't look at a fucking Scoville unit when I look at a hot sauce. I just go, oh, that sounds good. I'll try it, which is probably really dangerous.
Yeah, that's how you get into trouble. That's how you end up trying to drink a gallon of milk.
I mean, I've done Carolina Reapers and stuff. I've never eaten one like fresh. That would probably be bad.
No, I draw the line at the dangerous peppers. I won't even try them. I've seen people eat them, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
You haven't done it in a sauce or nothing?
No, I'm not talking about the sauce. I mean like the actual pepper.
Oh, you're talking fresh.
Yeah, I won't do it.
So Carolina Reaper, and Pepper X are the two hottest peppers in the world, right? And they're both done by Ed Puckerbutt Curry, and what do you call it? Ed he's held the Guinness World Record on this for quite some time, and he's always consistently building and making new new peppers and so forth. So before Pepper X was out, what do you call it? I remember I was hosting for a couple of things for one of the I think it was Zest Fest or one of these things, and so Bumble and I were there signing. We're doing our sauces and stuff, and then Maxim Magazine was there doing a story on Ed and hot peppers. So I think it was called Eat Hot Death, and what do you call it? Was the article. So they were doing with Ed's peppers. They were doing a whole deal on like between him and this other dude, which is the hottest peppers. And because right at that point, I think they were waiting on the Guinness World Record on whose was going to win, and Ed wound up winning. Spoiler alert. But what do you call it? But I wound up hosting for Maxim. I did for Maxim Magazine. I hosted the hot pepper eating contest. But before we did that, like the night before, Ed is a friend of mine, and what do you call it? And Ron Bumble and I were invited to go up to his room. So I said to my wife, I was like, "Do you want to come? And you come with the kids." She's like, "No. I don't want to go anywhere near those things." I was like, "You guys, you do your
I don't want to be in the
So,
same room.
so Bumble and I went up to the room, and Ed's like all secretive, and he's like, "Okay, guys, it's you guys, and it's the three of us and the reporter. It's like, I'm going to show you guys something that nobody else has seen before, and nobody else has had the opportunity to to taste or be a part of." So we're like, okay. So he has a freaking briefcase with the locks on it. That's like I'm sitting here going, "Oh
Like
my
a nuclear
Lord, all right,
bomb.
what's coming next?" And it's like sifting through, and he opens it up, and then there's like the little baggies. I'm like, "What is it? Is this like a drug deal going down? Like, what's happening?" And he takes out these little peppers, okay? And it was Pepper X. So it was the Pepper X. It was the one it hadn't even hit. So even if the Carolina Reaper wasn't hot enough, Pepper X was Scoville's above the Carolina Reaper. So he was beating this other guy's ass with Carolina Reaper, but he already had something ready to go. So we were the first three people to have the opportunity to try the Pepper X in this room that night. I politely declined because I'm like, there's no way I'm doing it. And then Ron Bumble takes like this like this tiniest little bite, and he takes a little bite off, and he is like, whoa, like smoke coming out of his ears. And he's a much bigger heat head than I am. He's a big Scoville head, and so what do you call it? So, and I'm like, yeah, after that, I am certainly not going to do it. I can take it, but I didn't want to, like, so yeah, so that's a funny little story about the Carolina Reapers. So yeah, I'm kind of tied to the Carolina Reaper and the guy who produced them.
I haven't heard of the Pepper X yet. Are people using it?
Yeah, Pepper X. Pepper X is out there, and if it's not, well, now you know.
Yeah, too late.
Secret's out now.
But I'm pretty sure if you look it up, you can see it's Ed Curry, Pucker Butt Pepper Company. So
Now you said you go to like the cons, right?
Yep.
So you go as well, you do so many things. How do you go? Are you Brimstone wrestler, or you do with your comic book shop at the cons, or what?
No, I'm signing in the celebrity area. I'm in
Okay.
celebrity row. I'm in under Brimstone. And most of the time, the thing with me is that sometimes promoters get a little confused because they're not exactly sure how to bill me. Because I have fans in different genres and different areas. So they'll always, I'm doing celebrity row, and they'll put me as Brimstone, entertainer, you know what I mean? Or more recent years, they've been doing, the Grindhouse Radio and, or other couple of things that I do. So, and other people just do, Brimstone, former pro wrestler, it depends. It really depends on the con. But it's a beautiful thing, man, because you get to meet people that in a million years, they never thought they were going to have the opportunity to meet you, and they're just so sweet, so amazing. And, I have these conversations with my buddy Charles all the time. I mentioned to you guys prior to talking, Charles Martinez, Mario and Luigi from Nintendo. And, we talk about it all the time. It's just like, it's such a blessing to have the opportunity to meet these people and, make them happy, just making their day. They're smiling and they're just so thrilled to meet somebody that is either their hero. And then I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? I was thrilled when I got to meet Tommy, and I was thrilled when I got to meet, a couple different people here and there. Like I wasn't fanboying because that's not my thing, but I was like, wow, this is an honor and a privilege to sit and meet you and do something. So, like the way I feel, I'm thinking, well, if you're a fanboy or you're a fangirl, this is a huge this is a huge thing for you.
Yeah.
And I respect that. We're also talking about how we're going to handle cons moving forward, because we're the guys that are like, okay, we're happy to give you a hug, you know what I mean? Or shake your hand, or, you take fun selfies. Like, so, we'll navigate that as it comes, but I hope I answered.
Yeah. I'm curious to how the world's going to be changing in the next year or so.
Yeah, I'm concerned about it because I go to the cons. I go to New York Comic Con every year. Not this year because now the rules are weird as hell. I have to pay ahead of time to be able to pay to go. It's weird. But I love going to the cons. I'm not really a fanboy, but I like meeting the people who, they're from my childhood. Like I met Lou Ferrigno, Jeff Goldblum. Lou Ferrigno is, first of all, he's not as big as I thought he was after seeing him on TV, but he has the most gentle, soft handshake. It's amazing.
Lou is a good guy. I've known Lou for many years.
He's a good dude from when I met him. He's just way more gentle of a person than I ever expected.
Yeah. Very, very kind, very kind.
Yeah.
Oh, how are you today? But very guy, a lovely guy. I haven't seen him in a minute simply because the world shut down. But usually, we be touring around the world together. We were on the Wizard World Trail together for a while. We spent a lot of time, doing Wizard Worlds together. And
I actually have never heard of this one. What is a Wizard World?
Wizard World conventions, really?
Yeah,
Wizard World Wizard World is a huge convention. They do them all over the country. So where New York Comic Con and San Diego, or New York and San Diego, Wizard kind of tours around. They're one of the big ones that tours around. I don't know how old you are, but do you remember Wizard Magazine?
I do not, but I'm 33 this year. So
okay. So Wizard Magazine was a magazine that was like all comic book and geekdom and so forth years ago. and it was very, very popular. And the guys that owned it were the Seamus brothers, and they wound up taking it and flipping it into the conventions. And they're the ones that started doing these conventions, Wizard World cons. And now
Mm-hmm.
Wizard World, I mean, it grew tremendously, and that's where a lot of people were out signing and on tour signing. So it was like guys like from all walks of entertainment. Yeah, man. I mean, look, Wizard World. If I didn't sign at Wizard World, I wouldn't have become friendly with Norman Reedus, Michael Rooker, Stan Lee, for God's sakes. I mean, it opened up a lot of doors. So signing in some of these places, gave me the opportunity to kind of meet people that I would have maybe never have met, because those were the higher profile events. And then obviously then I started doing bigger ones from there, and other bigger ones, and Kamikaze, which was Stan's event every year. Stan would ask me to come. Brimstone, I need you to do me a favor. Can you come down? I need you to sign for me at Kamikaze. You come down and we'll have a good time. Excelsior. It's like, we go down there and be hanging out with a whole bunch of people down there, and that really exposed me a lot to more of LA and more friends, you know what I mean, and more acquaintances. And the con world is fantastic for many reasons, and it is what it is. I wish I could tell you more,
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's a hard beast.
But Wizard World is a very big player, or was for a very long time. And then they've had some issues over the years. New York Comic Con I did every single year for many years, and then I had to take a break. My wife was mad at me because that's the one con she likes to go to, and since I'm always a guest, she always gets to walk around, do whatever the hell she damn well pleases. So she's excited about that, and so she goes around and which usually takes my little one, and they walk around and have a good time, or they go up and they hang out with all my other celebrity friends that I'm not getting to see because I'm stuck signing, but she's out there and seeing everybody. Oh, hey, how you been? What's going on? And so but me in New York, I can't walk 5-10 steps without getting stopped. Because I'm I'm not an A-lister. I know that. I know where I am in the totem pole. You know what I mean? But that's my hometown. So I know people just from being there. So a lot of the press, a lot of the people, a lot of the businesses. I'm always getting stopped. So I can't, if I'm not a guest, I won't go. I'm not gonna. I can't do it. So what do you call it? But the last couple of years, I steered clear of New York. But in turn, I was doing San Diego. So I was signing in San Diego, obviously, up until they shut everything down. And San Diego is like a completely different animal altogether. Like you want a wild show? San Diego is a wild freaking show, and they don't give a damn about anybody. What do you call it? They don't care. The best treatment I get is the fact that I'm coming in from the back area. What do you call it? And they're bringing me through the tombs to get up to wherever we're signing. But and because no way you can walk through the regular crowd. But yeah, that place is just, they're doing their thing, and they're just doing it big, man. And San Diego's huge. If you've never done San Diego, the whole freaking city shuts down. It's all fucking. Oh, sorry. All.
Oh, you're good.
All freaking Comic-Con all the time. So
yeah,
I don't cuss on air. I'm sorry.
So I actually plan to go to San Diego. I have not been yet because, like I said, I go to New York every year. But it's weird because I know so many people have never been to any kind of con. But they're a special thing. I don't know about what it's like from your side of the booth, but from a spectator perspective, which is my experience, it's hard to really explain to somebody like why should I go? A lot of people are like, why would I want to go there? What's there? And it's just everything is there. It's hard to put your finger on it. You just got to go.
Everybody should experience a con at least once in their life, just once. You don't need it more than once, but you should go at least once.
Yeah, some people wouldn't do well. It's pretty packed, but I love going to them. I'm going to start going to some of the mini cons that we have around here now. It's starting to become. I'm in Connecticut. Grizz is in Rhode Island.
Okay. Oh, so you're not. Well, Rhode Island Comic Con is huge.
Yeah.
Rhode Island Comic
Yeah.
Con's huge, and
Yeah.
every year I'm supposed to do it, and something always happens or something comes up. So what do you call it? But I know the promoter over there. He also did the one in Connecticut for many years. He bought the one that was in Connecticut that I did for many years. So
Mhm.
he keeps saying that he wants to bring me in, and then it's whether it's his side or my side, something always happens. But Rhode Island is tremendous, tremendous. I don't know. I heard everybody does well there. I couldn't tell you because I haven't been there.
I know people that have
I
been
haven't
to
been
it.
there myself, but it's always huge.
Yeah, I went to the one in Boston recently, which was a good one. Of course, not a lot compares to New York, but I'm going to be going to Rhode Island. I think it's coming up.
Yeah,
but if I don't go
probably.
to this one, I'm going to the next one, as I've been missing it every year.
I have a funny Comic Con story from Boston, an interesting one. What do you call it? It was a Wizard World. I don't know how much time we have left. I'm just,
It's endless, as much as you want to go.
okay. So I was going to do Wizard World in Boston, and it was their first time that they were doing the event in the area, and we were at the convention center, and when we went in, like there were like people giving everybody a hard time. They were all in suits, and we weren't thinking about it. We were like, what the hell is going on? They were all black suits. Turns out that it was the Secret Service because Obama was there giving a talk in the building at the same time. So we were like, "Oh, that's
sounds like
interesting."
an awful timing.
Awful timing. Awful timing. So I went upstairs. They got me in, and because they had to find out the credentials, and they brought us in through the back. And what do you call it? I forgot who the hell I was with. But we went up, and maybe it was with Nick Brendan from Buffy. But I all I know is I remember us kind of having a hard time getting in. We finally got in. We went upstairs, and when I tell you, like the doors opened, and usually at a con, you've been there, been to a con, Jerry. You could attest that it's like
Yeah.
fills like this. It's quick,
Instant.
real quick fills.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, where is everybody? There's nobody here. I think I was sitting next to Brandon from Jackass. And what do you call it? We were just like, there's nobody here. Like, what's going on? Then you saw over by the there was like a weapons booth, and they were making the weapons booth pack up and leave because they couldn't have weapons in there. And again, we weren't told that it was the president while we were downstairs. We found it out later on. We thought it was the security giving us a hard time. So I was like, I need to find out what the hell's going on. And so I walk out of the hallway, and I go to the hallway empty. And right across the hall, I heard like something going on out there, like somebody was talking. So I went and I opened up the door. I kid you not. I opened up the door and I stepped inside, and I'm like, oh my Lord, it's the president of the United States on the stage. And like I guess all the people that were listening to his conference or whatever it was were in the room. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here right now. I tipped the hell out.
How did I get through here?
Towed back out the door, shut the door. I thought I was going to get like jumped. And I was like, it all makes sense now with the up security and whatever. I'm like, now I get it. I thought I was going to get jumped by an FBI guy or Secret Service or whatever the hell it was. Thank God I didn't. That would kick their ass. But that's besides the point. They would have shot me or something. But what do you call it? Then I went back across the hall, and I'm like, okay, so the president of the United States is across the hall right now, just so you know. So it was a really interesting situation. I sometimes find myself in like the weirdest situations, but that was one of them. And that was my experience in Boston, one of the worst con weekends, simply because nobody could get in, and so we only had the one day. It was, instead of Saturday, it was Sunday. So what do you call it? So we were there, we stayed for the whole day for the few people that did get in, but it was like lockdown. It was crazy.
No, Saturday's usually the big day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Saturday was the day they were there. So Sunday was the only day that we had left, and we made the best of it. It was fun, but it was crazy. But that's what happened.
Bullshit.
That's what happened there. But I mean, look, to each their own. And in terms of presidents, I liked Obama. I don't care if you liked him or hated him, whatever. It's your own choice. I liked him, so I was like, all right, cool, no problem. He's across the hall, cool. you know, as long as I don't get shot, I'm all right. I'm good. I'm good. So, but anyway, and to this day, I was like, I should have stayed in to see what would have happened. Maybe I would have gotten to meet the president at that point.
Yeah, that could have made it really
That
interesting,
would have
man.
made it. My wife would have laughed her ass off if I sent her a picture of him. I was like, by the way, you know, this just happened, kind of a thing. And you know, I like to send her some stuff here and there, like she likes pop culture, she's a fan of it. And so San Diego, what do you call it? The not this past year, obviously the last year that they had it. What do you call it? I was there for the sign in San Diego, and then you know after hours I was doing influencer and appearances over at for the IMDb boat. So if you guys are familiar with IMDb,
Yeah.
Internet Movie Database, and I was doing influencer stuff there for Wendy's, as well as you know for other people, and so I was kind of like co-hosting some of the stuff in there that was going on, and you know it turns out because IMDb was in bed with Kevin Smith, and now Kevin and I had never met in person. We knew each other. Well, he knew of me. Of course, you know who Kevin Smith is, but I know everybody that I know his whole crew. You got to understand, like I'm friendly with everybody in you know in you know the View Askew world. These are guys. It's like my family. So what do you call it? So you know my name's been passed around before, and what do you call it? So I'm on the boat, and Kevin walks in, and you know so we had already done the red carpet, but Kevin's on the red carpet, and what do you call it? It was the funniest thing. So do you guys know Clerks or
Oh
no?
yeah. I love Clerks.
Who the hell doesn't know
Clerks is
Clerks?
amazing.
So Marilyn Gigliotti, Mary says to me, she goes, you still haven't met Kevin yet, have you? I'm like, no. I said, every time we're same kind of thing as Tommy, you know, like every time we're supposed to meet, like we've literally at least been like 5 feet away from each other. It's just that we weren't formally introduced. We've been around each other. We were never introduced. And, you know, he's always being spoken to and then brought wherever. And, you know, I'm a lot lower on the totem pole. So, you know, I'm not going to be able to go and follow, and nor would I. That's not my thing. So unless I'm going to be introduced, I'm not going to be, you know, whatever. It is what it is. So she's like, okay, I'm introducing you right now. I'm like, well, he's on the carpet. She grabs my wrist and pulls me. So Marilyn is one of my very dear friends. So she pulls me over, and you know, she's with me on the outside where, you know, the photogs are. And she's like this to Kevin. Kevin sees her, goes, oh, come in. So she gets in there. Now they're taking pictures on the carpet. And then she says to him, she goes, that's Brimstone right there, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh. And he's like, bring him on. So then I get up. So we're sitting and talking. We're having a conversation while we're taking all the pictures. If you want to see the pictures, they're on IMDb. You can catch them there. But what do you call it? So we're sitting having the conversation. And I said to him, I go, listen, you got to do me a favor. He goes, I'm in. What do we got to do? I go, all right, listen. So my wife is way too big of a Kevin Smith fan. I said, so you got to do me a favor. I need you to send a video message to her. He's like, sure, let's do it now. I was like, okay, let's do it now. So what do you call it? So I pulled out my phone and I pop it on. No, we're doing this in front of like all of the press. So what do you call it? So we're here and we're doing the whole thing. And he's like, oh, I was talking to Danielle and blah, blah, blah. And this whole 9 yards. Marilyn's in it, I'm in it. Then at that point, I don't know how big of a wrestling fan you are, or you know, I know you don't know voiceover, but I don't know how far in you are. But what do you call it? From behind, I hear another voice, Brimstone. It's my buddy Shad Gaspard. He passed away. He's the guy who passed away in California, saving his son about a year and a half ago at this point. He was WWE superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you call it? So Shad jumped on me and wrapped his big ass arms around me. I'm like, get the hell out of here. And then right next to him is my buddy Greg Sipes, who's Beast Boy from Teen Titans Go. So, you know, now all of us are in here. This is a cool ass video. We're having fun. And I looked down at my phone, and what do you call it? My phone didn't record it. So I only, it caught like, you know, as Shad jumped on me, and it was like, I was like, no. So what do you call it? So they, you know, at that point, because I turned to Shad and Greg, and I had said goodbye to Kevin already. And when I realized that he was already going in another direction. So I was like, no. I never do this, but I got to go talk to him again. I'm like, freaking thing. I said, everybody, I'll be right back. So I went up to Kevin. I was like, now that we've met, you're going to kill me and you're probably going to hate me after this. He's like, I couldn't. It's just like, it was like out of a TV show. It was great. Or a movie. He's such a great guy. And, and again, I don't know him well. I wish I did. I think him and I would vibe real well.
He seems like an awesome
Says,
dude.
Yeah, he
goes,
does.
it's like, what? What do we need to do? I'm like, the video. He goes, what about it? I'm like, it didn't record. What do you mean it didn't record? It didn't record. I said, I don't know what happened. He's like, but you pressed the button. I know I pressed the button. It's like a Laurel and Hardy shtick or something going on. So we finally, he's like, well, we need to do it again. I was like, if you don't mind, that would be amazing. He's like, let's go outside. So we went outside, made sure it went on, and we did the video and sent it to my wife. Made her life. She absolutely was super happy about it. And because she knows that even if she's a fan of something, she's not allowed to fangirl because it's unprofessional. So I won't let her. But what do you call it? So with Kevin, I was like, all right, you can fangirl a little bit, whatever. So he made an awesome video, which is up on social. So yeah, I'm sure you can find it somewhere. But
I'm sure she cherishes it.
She loved it. And I will say, it was well worth the wait meeting him in terms of how long it had been, since we hadn't been introduced. But very, very good guy. And I respect him a lot. And the fact that he took the time out was because that's something that I would do. You know what I mean? I respect that because I feel that everybody should get that time or whatever. And the fact that he took the time out and he's at a different level, I said, you know what? I respect the hell out of that. So kudos to Kevin Smith. Love the guy to death. And that's my story there.
Yeah, obviously we don't know. Obviously we don't know Kevin, but I love watching whatever he's on, and he just seems like a genuine dude. You know what I mean? Like he loves his fans. He knows where he came from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Really good dude. And the whole crew, man. The whole crew is great. Like, Brian O'Halloran. I speak to him at least once every couple of weeks, once a month. I guested on his roast, the O'Halloran roast. I roasted his ass. What do you call it? The guys from Comic Book Men, my boys, so like these people, Marilyn, like I said, Ernie, these are family to me. So, I like to say that, like we're, it's extended family, you know what I mean? So the fact that, Kevin was so awesome made sense, you know what I mean? Because everybody is down to earth, Jay Muse, great guy, like just everybody, just good people. So, and everybody's just so down to earth and cool. It's like, that's why we all get along, because I'm the same way. I try to be real. I'm authentic. I'm unapologetically authentic and unapologetically myself. And that's it. Like I enjoy, just kind of, being real, man. Like I'm not going to BS. I'm not going to lie and downplay what I do and who I am simply to appease other people. And I'm also not going to make people feel bad about it. You know what I mean? About like not being at that, doing what I do. And like some people, they don't understand. It's like when I'm talking, I'm not trying to be like, oh, these are the people that this is what I know. These are my friends. These are the people I'm with more often. So like if you would say, you go, hey, I'm with Jerry, you know what I mean? Or I'm hanging out with Andy, that's normal. Well, for me, it's like, well, I'm hanging out with this one, I'm hanging out with that one. That's normal for me. So when I'm having a conversation, it's not to sit and throw names out there. That's not my, you know what I mean? That's not what I'm trying to do. It's just that's real. That's what's happening for me.
That's real life for you. So you know what's funny is you had mentioned something that I've actually said before myself. Grizz, I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, but our buddy Hunter listens to the show. And I want to make sure that I point this out so that he hears it, because he rolls his eyes every time I say this. And it was the same thing you just said, where I tell him I'm unapologetically myself.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't understand why people wouldn't be.
Because everybody feels the need to be, everybody feels the need to live up to other people's expectations.
Yeah, you're much happier when you make your own expectations and live up to those.
That's right. Absolutely. Hunter, you're wrong, Hunter. You're wrong. So maybe come and slap the taste out of your mouth, Hunter. When Jerry says something, you better listen. That's all I got to say. Otherwise, next time I'm down in Connecticut, I'm going to have to come down there, and I'm not going to do anything bad. I'm going to shake your hand and be like, hey, brother, how you doing? But I'm going to tell you,
Damn it.
It is unapologetically yourself. That is the only thing you should be. Like, I am me, and that's that. It's the only me I'm going to be. That's it. So I'm glad that we have the same philosophy.
Oh, Hunter's gonna love it. Thank you so much for saying that to him.
No problem. He's gonna be like, that's that guy. I'm gonna block him on social media.
All right, Brimstone, I think that's a perfect place to wrap it up. All of us shitting on Hunter for not being apologetically himself.
Fuck you, Hunter.
Be nice, man. Be nice. He does not know what he does.
No, he doesn't. So before we go, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you in all of your aspects? I'm sure you got multiple places where people can look you up.
Yeah, man. The one place that is kind of the hub of everything, if you want to go to my official website, therealbrimstone.com. Again, that's therealbrimstone.com. You can pretty much find almost everything I do there. If it's not there now, it will be there eventually. It's just there's so much on there, and I personally do it myself to make sure that everything's always up to date. I've gotten sick and tired of trusting other people to get things done and hiring people, so I just do it myself. You want it done right? What do, guys? You do it yourself.
Have Brimstone do it.
Another thing you're doing.
and certainly don't let Hunter do it. That would be bad.
Oh, snap.
But what do you call it? So you should have said the Hunter thing earlier. We would have been ragging on him the whole episode. What do you call it? But at the end of the day, therealbrimstone.com. If you go to Instagram, I'm very heavy on Instagram at therealbrimstone. That's verified. You'll know it's me. I love to interact with people. So if you are, as long as you're being respectful and you're talking to me on posts, I will always respond. You're getting me. You're not getting somebody else. What do you call it? And that's pretty much it, man. Also check out the Grindhouse Radio. I do the Grindhouse Radio. It comes out brand new episodes, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What do you call it? The new episodes come out. We have a special guest every week. We have a great lineup. You could just go to our site, go to the guest list, and you'll see well over 300 different guests that we've had on from every area of entertainment. You can find something that you're interested in, start from there, or go with the newest episode. It's always an awesome time. The other thing is, I do a couple of other shows. I do Truly Inconsequential on Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live. I do that with Tom Greer, my partner in crime from Grindhouse Radio. We basically sit and go off on a couple of different characters throughout pop culture history and deem whether they are consequential or truly inconsequential. So the show is Truly Inconsequential live, half-hour show, and we have a great time with that. And I've also been doing a new show called the Dirty Little Secrets Club, and that is with my co-host Dana Pereira. She does that Trophy Wife Life. Awesome freaking show. We basically, that's the one show that I am a little off the rails on, in terms of I'll talk a little bit spicier than I normally would on like a Grindhouse and so forth. So that one's like PG-13. So before somebody listens to it, understand that new episodes come out Tuesday, as well as my rant show, which is within Brimskin, and that's on the GHR network as well. So if you guys are interested, check me out, and hopefully you guys will follow me. So that's about it.
Yeah, that's been awesome, man. I really enjoyed it. It was good talking to you.
Honor and a privilege. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really
awesome.
appreciate
Thanks, Brim. All right. Well, we'll catch up with you on the next one, and maybe you'll be able to tell us a little bit more about those secret things you got coming up.
Absolutely.
Well, Grizz, that was a fantastic conversation. I loved talking to that guy.
Yeah, he's a good time, man.
Not what I expected, and in a good way.
Those are the best usually, right? We always get caught off guard every couple of these, where we expect something and get something completely different.
In this case, I don't think I expected anything, but I got a whole lot more than that. I loved it.
You would. It was right up your alley. He talks about everything that you love. Comic-Con.
Well, all kinds of pop culture.
Stanley.
We could probably call this a pop culture episode.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. But Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you again for listening to Beautiful Bastards Podcast. Please take a few minutes to give us a rating on iTunes. It's a major part of what keeps this dumbass shit on air. And it helps us keep the lights on so we can keep bringing you new content. Remember, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, our website, and anywhere else you stream your content from. If you enjoy the show, you can find all our links at linktree/beautifulbastard. Or you can check out our website at beautifulbastardspodcast.com. And now YouTube. Snap into a Slim Jim.
And thanks to our new friend Brimstone, now we know the harder you work, the luckier you get.